Killa Kela Sweet 16 streaming across all music platforms now. Featuring 16s from Tina Kamau, Orifice Volgatron, Foreign Beggars, Marga, Bob Villain, Illerman, and Trigger. The sounds of Killa Kela Sweet 16s streaming now.
AG Dentistry. In my line of work, not only does what I do with the mouth get reviewed, it's also my instrument. And it's beyond important to me that my teeth get the professional service they deserve. The AG family provide expert dentistry, whether it's NHS or cosmetic. They're the finest in London. Head over to agdentistry.co.uk for more information on treatments and prices. AG Dentistry.
Killa Kela podcast. KillaKelaOfficial.com.
Beatbox created.
Killa Kela.
And we're here to talk about world music and street culture.
Killa Kela podcast.
Oh, cool. That's good, man.
Yeah, we'll jump into this. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Killa Kela podcast. Subscribe, do not sleep. I repeat, do not sleep on this repeat. We're live and direct Central London. And, yeah, man. I've got a bit of a Don inside the building. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know about this guy, then you've been sleeping somewhere really, really out of the way. Mr Doodle inside the place.
Hi, mate. Yeah, it's great to be here.
yeah. How you feeling? What's going on?
I'm good. Yeah, really good. Really enjoying my life at the moment. So, yeah, I'm having a good time, and it's good to be here speaking with you.
Ah, bless your heart. Yeah, man. Hey, you know what? It's good to feel happy about things that you kind of, you've been achieving, as we do. And, it's really nice to find that sweet spot where you sit perfectly in the scheme of creating.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, there's always like room for improvement and doing more things and everything. But I think sometimes you have to kind of just be like happy with what you're doing and where it's going, and so
yeah,
definitely.
You're kind of in a really special place. For those of you that don't know what's going on here, by the way, like Mr Doodle is like serial killing it with this whole kind of installation of linear cartoon, one touch continuity of art, right? I mean,
Thanks.
it's Sharpie art or it's ink art.
Yeah, it's very like kind of just. Like characters and the stuff I'm wearing really, and
the stuff he's busting there.
Just all this like very one line kind of just graphic kind of artwork really. I think
you kind of carved and created your own lane, didn't you? With this?
Yeah, well, at university there was a few tutors that were very kind of pushing this idea of kind of making your own marketplace, and it's not always about kind of trying to fit into a certain type of industry, but sort of doing what you love and then hopefully attracting work through that really, and making your own new sort of thing.
So was it a conscious decision to like be like, hey, you know what, I'm gonna focus on this and more of it?
Well, this is like what came naturally to me. It's always what I've like loved to do the most.
You can tell.
Yeah.
Dude, you can tell with the videos. They're incredible. It's just, I'm captivated. Bro.
Oh, cheers.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. Carrie, sorry,
I mean, like doodling is really kind of what I found was the best way to express myself when I was younger. It was always kind of what I like lent towards and what felt natural to do. So I didn't really think, which thing should I do, and I'll do this. It was more just like I did that, and sort of people knew me for doing that, and it always felt like that's what I was gonna do somehow as kind of a job, I guess.
As a job?
Yeah.
Did you see it blow up like it has?
Not in the same way it has, and definitely not as quick as I feel it has.
Like thrusted, huh?
Yeah. I still, but the thing is, like every time it gets to a certain level, I kind of want it to go to the next thing, and I'm kind of satisfied for a small amount of time, but then I think like, oh, it could go to this thing or be even bigger, so it never the kind of a dream that you have, I think if you reach to a certain point, you just dream a bit bigger, and then it keeps
like you're constantly dreaming, and with each refinement you learn from mistakes, you learn from the speed in which you've done it, and maybe could have taken a little bit more time than that. Naturally, things do step up a gear when certain significant things happen, don't they?
Yeah, definitely. And you almost feel kind of like it's necessary to fulfill any kind of like potential that you think's there in front of you from, like, if something a stage in your career steps up, you feel like you got to make use of that. I kind of feel like it's like an itch to sort of do it.
Does that make you feel anxious?
Yeah, sometimes. And I can't help that really, but it's kind of like, it's not the worst problem to have. And I'd rather it was that than to not be anywhere with what I'm doing, you know.
Exactly. When we go on stage, or when I go on stage, there's about a 60-second anxiety hit. People used to call it nerves. It's not nerves. It's the feeling of wanting to get something out of your system.
Yeah.
So I guess it's very similar for you, because like your social media presence and the way that you interact with people, I guess you're thinking 6 months ahead, but you're still working within what people expect. It must really drive you like to anxiety. I'm like, I've got to get this done.
Yeah. It's kind of weird, because when I think about stuff like that, I think quite far ahead, but when I'm drawing, I don't think that far ahead at all. It's very like spontaneous, you know. So it's these different kind of ways of thinking. Like I like to keep the actual the making of the work very live and very kind of up there to make mistakes and things, like if they happen. But the actual kind of like big vision is a bit longer thought out, you know.
It's crazy, the spontaneity. Like you say, it keeps the energy up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Next, and that's for me in a real kind of junk food society we've kind of come to accept it being. Like, you fit perfectly within the speed of all of that.
Yeah.
It's like, because this is some bespoke stuff, but the way you're turning it out is like fast to order.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, I like when I was younger and like now, I love the like mass production of stuff. Like I can't help it, but like I like really like factories where there's like loads of things being produced, and the quantity of it is what drives me so much as the content of it as well. Like I love seeing large amounts of work build up, and I'm really interested in it, kind of exploring like really large scale projects and trying to draw as much as possible, you know.
Yeah. What are your influences on those to that scale? Like you've got to be thinking of like a ton of different things. Like some things I've seen you do like whole houses, of just like top to bottom designs. If you're not checking this out on YouTube, you know the outfit the Big D's wearing right now is crucial. It's like it's sick, and it's basically that's your design, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, one day I was drawing over my bedroom and drawing over some of the like objects that I owned, because I loved the idea of doodles kind of consuming loads of surfaces. And then I thought like, well, I want to kind of give everything to my work or not do it at all. So,
Lovely,
you know, like it's got to be one way or the other. So I thought, well, I'm going to like cover my clothes with it, and I'm going to let it consume my life. So then people know like I believe in it. It's like what I love to do. And I think for me, it's like either do that or just don't do it. Yeah.
That's incredible. I love that. That's a quote and a half. Like, immerse yourself in it. You become it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so fucking cool.
I think, I mean, that's how I feel about it, you know, like I think everyone should do what they feel is the best thing to do. But for me, that felt the right thing to do.
Becomes your mission brief, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Have it consume you to then consume everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's a good way to put it. Definitely.
It's great. And sorry, just to circle back on the influences thing, I didn't give you a chance to chat about that. What influences you?
Often it's not really, I think what people might think it is. Like, I like kind of like businesses and like people that have taken something and made it a huge thing. Like, I love like what Walt Disney did during his life, and like the whole kind of empire he's built. Like I just look at that and think, that's so cool, because you have this idea and you've really taken it to the furthest extent you can, and things like that. And just like, I don't know, when it's not always kind of artworks. It sometimes it's like musicians, or I don't really know how to explain it, but sometimes it's just things that I see people do. Like someone run, like my uncle does like Iron Man events and things, and like when people do stuff like that, that's what kind of makes me want to draw.
That's awesome.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jim Henson, he was another great example of the whole puppeteer world that he created.
Yeah.
Whoa, like out there.
Yeah, definitely.
Gorillaz have done a good job of, bringing together the animation and cinematic thing with the music too, didn't they?
Yeah, absolutely, and and also like Aardman with like Wallace and Gromit and things like that.
Yeah.
Like you kind of look at, I love seeing things like that where people have kind of created a world out of their artworks. Like when it's not just like just an image, but it's a whole environment with characters, and it kind of goes everywhere and it does everything, and you can like lose yourself in these like universes people make. And I think that's what kind of drives me, kind of like, I guess also how like companies, brands like Hello Kitty and like the Tamagotchis and all sorts of these things where people have these kind of art-based things, but they're more than just like an image,
Yeah, passion really drives a brand, like at its core, isn't it? Like there's no point, and if you haven't got a heart to your business, then you're not going to grab people and inspire them, are you?
Yeah, no, definitely. That's I think it is important, because even just to drive yourself, like you got to be interested in what you're doing, to wake up. And there's a lot of days where like my work now is often like less commercial jobs, but they're kind of bigger commercial jobs. And then there's a lot of time where it's just, I have days where it's just I'm working and I've got to draw, but it's not for anyone. And if I didn't have the kind of passion to do
that, yeah,
I've got nothing to kind of like put out to the world. And I love kind of putting out stuff. And so I think it's important to kind of love what you do in that way.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to ask you some geeky questions that will probably would come under the questionnaires of many people's minds, because you've got such a big following. So I'm going to ask the obvious questions. Yeah. How many hours a day do you do what you do?
Usually it's like it can be like 14 or 15 hours a day of just
straight
like,
doodling,
just drawing. Yeah, like I'll draw in on my phone when I'm walking around, and like on the train or on a bus, I'm always drawing.
Okay, break. So what, have you got like one of those kind of pens, and you use it on your iPad or on your normal phone?
On my normal phone, it's like this.
Stop
this phone,
it.
It's a Note one, and I always draw with
what?
that.
Can I see where'd you get this thing from?
It's a Samsung Note 9. So I'll show you how.
Yeah, please do. Yeah.
So. Like if you want to just do a quick one,
so
then
you take the pen out of the phone.
Yeah, and then you just do a little like, and I'm always doing these just while I'm waiting for like transport to turn up or something.
You see what's going on here? You're getting the legit
robot.
shit. Look, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Another one. Another one.
Okay. Hang on. Oh.
You know what's amazing is that you're so apt at doing it. You're just like, that is super quick.
Yeah. So these are like some of the ones that I've been doing today. So these are just.
God.
I've liked doing these ones because usually I do black and white, and
that's right.
I think sometimes it can be fun to add a good bit of colour and stuff.
Man.
Yeah, I love drawing these kind of snake characters and
you do,
aliens
don't you?
and things.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Because I constantly say this, like with restriction comes creativity.
Yeah.
Because that's obsession. That's like I have to get this out. I have to make it different. Do you ever think? Because I've only noticed recently you started using colour in your videos as well.
Yeah.
But do you prefer using black and white? Is that kind of like?
Well, to me, like I don't have kind of a problem with colour, or anything like that. But it's like, and it's not that I love black and white so much. It's more that like I love making the lines and making the drawing. So I don't like colouring in stuff so much, because it's, for me, it's like a different thing. It's like, like I like making I make a line and then I move on and then that area is done. You know, I don't want to have to go back into that and like fill it out with, red and yellow. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that sometimes like I'll draw like red on white instead of black on white or blue on white. But usually it's just one line on a background. You know, it's not like fully kind of coloured in some ways that some artworks are. Because for me, it's about kind of dominating space, and it's about making the characters and making drawing the objects. That's what's fun to me, and that's what doodling is to me. Like doodling to me is not kind of like colouring it all in, you know.
I guess it's the curiosity of making a mistake turn into something that you never thought you were going to draw.
Yeah, that happens a lot. Yeah, so usually I'll just start with a basic shape or a couple of shapes, and then I don't know what it's going to be most of the time, and then I'll just let kind of my hand work it out, and especially ones where I'll just do like a continuous line drawing, and you never really know what's going to kind of come next. Sometimes I'll have themes in my head, like not specific ideas, but I'll be like, this one's gonna be kind of like themed around music or like sports or something, and I'll include like certain things that come to my mind from that kind of category. Yeah,
it's very similar to beatboxing in many respects, because there's a deck of cards and they could fall at any moment. The more you kind of freestyle your way around things, vocally, in my case, it's like it makes it more fun, and the spontaneity, people pick up on the energy of it, don't they?
Yeah.
Which was really helpful when you watch what you do on your Instagram, because it's in real time. That's happening, and you can see the energy that's been put in, can't you?
This is what I love about like social media and kind of like filming the work, is that what I think's really like interesting and cool about music, and I guess particularly like beatboxing, is that what you're listening to was like it was happening like at the time, you know, like someone was doing it at the time, and you're listening to that being made almost. So like, but with artwork, often you're like looking at the final result. That's like right. You don't see it from the start to the end.
Journey,
yeah. Whereas like, I guess listening to beatboxing, you are listening to like the start to the end almost.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about like filming myself draw, and like drawing in front of like a live audience, is that like they're coming on that journey with you, and to me that's more exciting than seeing the final product. It's
like a tour. You do shows like that, exhibition type performances.
Yeah. I love doing things
I've
like
seen
that. Yeah.
But you do that a lot, do you?
Quite a bit. Yeah. Like either I'll be doing it in front of people, like at an actual event, or I'll just do it like live on social media as well, like Facebook,
I've seen that.
Instagram and stuff.
Yeah, I've seen you do the live ones. That's sick. Like, you know, the one is I was sitting here and my girlfriend was in it because she put me onto you.
Yeah.
And then I'd be watching it, and then I'd hear like a 3-second delay, and she's in there watching the live as well. It's like, it's like that.
That's
cool.
Know?
Yeah, it's funny. Okay, more techers. What kind of ink and pens do you use?
Well,
is this a trade secret?
A little bit, but right. It's basically like they're kind of like bingo markers. Basically, for the big walls, they're usually like a big kind of thick,
squidgy kind of
marker.
You don't have to tell me the ink, because then don't tell me the ink.
Okay.
I think I can figure it out, but I wouldn't want to let your secret juice get.
Well, and also I think people should kind of test loads of things to find out like new ways to work. Like no one really told me what to use, and I tried a load of different things and found this worked for me. So I think it's best if everyone does that as well, so if they want to draw and stuff. But and then for the thinner stuff, I use like fine liners and thinner pens. But it's usually like markers most of the time. If it's a really big outdoors project, I use spray paint, and it's a little bit kind of looser and messier, the line work, and that can be quite fun.
It's got the kind of spray effect on the.
Yeah.
There's a linear look to, and I think that does come from the pen. Now I think about it, when I see it, you couldn't do that with another thing, really, could you?
No, I said
because it's so fluid. It's almost like the layer of thickness is there's no kind of give.
No,
You know what I mean?
most of the time, I think that's right. Yeah, I think the more I've done it, the kind of just the easier it's become to kind of keep the consistency of the line.
Would you say, like, just going back to the brand thing, would you say that is what has put you a cut above in terms of, you know, you're studying at uni and how you wanted to make an effective, put effectiveness to your output? You had to think a little bit differently in the brand sense?
A little bit, and also like I didn't really like necessarily kind of want to be like an artist so much. Like I just wanted to kind of like make something that I don't know. I didn't when I was younger. I didn't think, oh, I really want to like have my work in galleries or things like that. Like I wanted to make like animations and games for people to play or like things like that. So the things that influenced me when I was a kid were like video games that I play rather than kind of like books about artists, you know? Yeah. So because of that kind of influence, I think I've thought more in that kind of commercial way where it's more of a kind of world that I'm building rather than like individual kind of artworks or something,
totally.
You know?
But you've made it to the point where you are the face of the artwork, which is, I guess that took a lot of outside the box thinking. If you were influenced by someone that's done it before, then you're modelling yourself on something that has already happened.
Yeah. That's true, and I think and I think now like people kind of, and also I looked at some like artists or people that had already like had successful careers, and in a way like I saw like I liked I still do like Banksy a lot. But I kind of wanted to do like almost the opposite of what he does. He's like this kind of anonymous person who no one knows, but I wanted to like embed myself within the artwork, so I kind of became one of the characters that I was drawing, you know. And I think people are a bit drawn to that because right now like people love to follow people on social media, and they like seeing a character behind artwork, I think.
Yeah, and I think the other thing as well is that it's unoffensive and it's happy, and it's a form of happy escapism which you don't get in a lot of like street art like Banksy. Yeah, a lot of it is with intent. It's either political or it's vandalism charged in a way. Which is I fucking love, but you know, in the opposite end of the pendulum, it's like, well, you know, you're a good entry hole for young people to be into something and follow it, and because it's happy. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And like, I mean, it's weird because like I'm serious about like doing what I love, but I don't want what I love to be serious in that way, you know? Like I don't make kind of works that I don't necessarily kind of want to change people's minds about anything or put anything in my art or any of my doodles that I think, you know, I want someone to like sit and think about and re-question their like values or anything. Like, I just want to make stuff that's fun for me because I think like that, I know I find it so fun, so I want other people to enjoy that as well. And I don't think, you know, art and doodles and things, you know, have to always be serious you know, and I think it's all right.
Yeah, it's all right. And if you get too politically charged with anything, then you ultimately you end up alienating people and yourself in certain areas of the world. I've always respect people like Drake and Beyonce and people like that. They're actually the only two I can think of actually that really stay neutral. Yeah, they don't do bad, they don't do good, they do everything. They kind of float around in this kind of. It's just fun. It's good. It's good.
Yeah, and I think it must be difficult for them a lot of the time, you know, because they must, and it's very easy to like almost think what you're doing isn't political, well, because you might be so swayed one way or the other that you think like, you know, everyone thinks a certain way, and you might say something that's gonna like kind of yeah, as you say, like alienate half your audience.
Could get
and-
Kanye pretty quickly, couldn't it? You know? But then actually, at the same time, that never does him any harm neither, does it? You know?
No, yeah. Like, I mean, it's, yeah. And it's, I don't know, it's like people do it differently, and sometimes it's not, I don't know how to explain it, but I think, yeah, it doesn't, like, I think people have a lot of kind of people in music or, actors and artists, and have sort of felt like they need to be political, like they, like it's their duty to kind of like
Pipe up.
yeah. But I don't think like that's always the case, you know, like it's kind of, sometimes it comes across as patronizing, or it's not always a good thing.
Yeah. And some things just linger in your career for a long time if it's taken to the, you know, the nth degree of wrongness, or
Yeah.
you know. Yeah, I agree. You got to try and keep a balance. I mean, I have to with podcasts. You know, it's like sometimes I really do feel a particular way, but then at the same time, I don't to upset the subject matter and to confuse the message. Do you know what I mean? It's like just we're having a chat.
Yeah.
And sometimes people will say something, and I'll be like, yeah. I mean, but then at the same time, it's like I bring them because I'm endeared by them and their opinions. And I love characters, man.
Yeah. I definitely wouldn't like. I don't think, you know, everyone should just do what's probably right for them. But I think it's just there's consequences to doing it any kind of way, you know, like so it's just good to be aware of them, maybe.
Are you aware of other participants within the kind of Sharpie ink, you know, freestyle world?
Not so much really. Like I've been throughout, like everything I've done, I've been very much like by myself. Not to say that I'm the only one who does it, but when I work, I mean, I haven't done many kind of
Solitude.
Yeah, and I know there's like other people out there that draw in like this kind of genre, but like I don't do many like collaborative projects, or even like most of my friends like aren't really, you know, artists. I mean, I like artists. And I met a lot of people at university that are still my friends, but my kind of a cool group of friends that like, you know, like chefs, electricians and stuff, you know.
Yeah. Oh, totally, dude. I think, you know, life's a fruit bowl, you know what I mean? You can't have all the same sort of thing going off. This is my mate Travis Moore.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he does a lot of this sort of stuff too.
That's nice.
Yeah, and there's this other guy called The Good and the Shitty. I think Good and Shitty. Good and SHIDDY. I started following him like a couple of years ago, but he's crazy with these sorts of, you know, Rick Markey style characters. But he'll spin and swirl, and I'll show you later.
Yeah,
you know?
cool.
Yeah, there's another one. Yeah. I mean, it's just when beatboxing took off. You know what I mean? I was very much the same. I was like, oh well, you know, that's cool, but like I do it anyway. Why do I want to hang out?
Yeah.
But it chases after you. Eventually, you're in the paddock. You know what I mean? It's like, isn't it? I think that comes with like notoriety, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, definitely. I think, like, yeah. I mean, I don't like dislike
Of
other
course,
artists at all or anything like that. It's just the way it goes. I would never. For me, it's like I don't want to kind of force to be that way. Like I don't want to have to be like, my friends should be like artists or something. If it happens, then that's just the way it happens, you know.
It's quite spooky, innit? I couldn't imagine myself. I know what you mean. You know, I like all sorts of mates. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and I don't want to ask him every 5 minutes to beatbox. You know what I mean? I bet you have that, don't you? I'll draw a picture.
Yeah, and well, that. Yeah, I mean, it can be really nice, but it's like I think sometimes people like, and maybe like rightly so in a way, like people kind of think it's like a compliment to ask for a drawing, but I just don't have time to do like as many drawings as like people ask me to do. You know, people just ask me to like draw their name, and even though it might only take like 5 minutes, it's
a piece of you that's going out there, and then next thing you got a queue of people.
Yeah.
I know that must be really crazy.
Yeah, it can be.
Do you get recognised a lot? Do you get?
Well, I like wear this all the time, so I'm kind of asking.
Yeah,
for
I mean,
it.
the outfit's a bit of a it's like a
Yeah.
soldier complaining he's getting shot at, isn't it? But at the same time, like again, you are your brand, so you must like my girlfriend. She this is how we were even here communicating because
Yeah.
she wanted a photo with you, and then
Yeah.
do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's part of that like thing when I said, like I want every like opportunity I'm outside and stuff. I want it to be like for my work. I want to make the most out of like the life I have to kind of do as much with what I do as possible. So if I'm always kind of wearing a suit and always kind of opening myself up to those opportunities, then I'll kind of have the best shot of getting them, I guess.
And you don't want to live with any regrets saying, I wish I was a bit more about doing that. you know?
Yeah, that's the biggest worry, I think, is getting to somewhere and just regretting. Like, that's just really kind of drives me in a way.
For real.
Yeah.
You're internationally known, and you head out to Asia quite a bit, Korea. Right?
Yeah, Korea, yeah.
Right. Hello, my Korean friends now. This is crazy. You have such a massive following. It's insane. They love you out there, dude.
Yeah, like it's always been amazing when I've been out to Korea or Hong Kong. Like I want to do more stuff out there. I want to do stuff wherever.
Everywhere.
Yeah. I love what I want to do with what I do is like I like making something that's kind of a universal language. You know, it's not really got words in so much. It's just like everyone can recognize like a character. You know, no matter where you're from or who you are or what age you are. So like that's what I want my work to be is kind of open in that way. And it's great going to somewhere so far away and someone being so like interested in what I do, like it blows my mind.
Greeted at airports. This is this Beatle art that we're talking about, the Beatles style. You got like queues around the block when you're signing stuff, right?
Oh, yeah, it's not that crazy, but
I've seen it. I've seen these queues in your Instagram.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Can be like, especially when I've gone to Asia. A lot of people kind of get. There was one girl that I went to Asia once, and I was in Korea, and she had like a coffee in her hand. And she'd noticed me on the street, and she started kind of like shaking like crazy, and the coffee was going everywhere. And I couldn't believe it, like how kind of like moved she was to see me like that. It freaked me out, you know. I just don't. You never realize it until you actually, because a lot of the time I'm on kind of the internet, and there's a wall between me and people, but when I've seen someone and they're like that, it's crazy for me to like.
It hits home, doesn't it? That they are you're revered.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, like how before the internet, the expansiveness in which people to get that icon status from their fans, what they had to do to get their message out there.
Yeah.
Because art was such a kind of bespoke, exhibited place.
Yeah.
It wasn't so international. So how people did it back in the day, I have no idea.
Yeah. It's almost like, you almost can't imagine it really because it's so different now. It's like you have your own kind of, you can really like brand yourself and promote yourself now, and you have a lot more control now in a way than you did like ages ago, you know. And it's I don't even know like what I'd be doing, whether this like would have worked if it was 50 years ago. It's hard to know really.
I think there's been a succession of a chain of events that have happened. I think it derives from graffiti, and it derives from pop art, and then it slowly merged itself with the likes of Banksy coming involved. And, you know, and pop culture generally taking a swing at Instagram and going for, It's crazy how like it's morphed to this point now where, you know, your art is like flourishing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean. And it's also partly about like now everyone, most people who have access to the internet can now like be part of that audience. Whereas before, I guess if there was a gallery, then there's like this distance between the audience, like the whole world, and like how art was mostly for kind of like richer people, and
that's right.
And it's different now. It's like it's kind of it's almost like everywhere, you know.
Yeah.
And everyone can kind of be
Take
a part
piece.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's humanizing what you're doing, and then everyone they find endearment in that, and then they want to get involved too.
Yeah.
And that's the give, isn't it? That's the best bit about the art.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm definitely feeling that. So what's the future? What's going on? What's next?
More kind of, well, just more of what I'm doing, but especially kind of like I've got this kind of idea to get, you know, a house. Like I want to get a house and cover the outside with drawing, cover like all the inside with drawing, all the rooms and everything, and that will become like my base where like I'll make a lot of my content, and I think bringing a lot more towards like my own direction rather than I still will work with like brands and things, but I think I'll put out a lot of kind of more of my own stuff, so I become a bigger brand within myself. Yeah,
that's crazy. So you're gonna have like a whole house that's just gonna. This is gonna happen. I know it's gonna happen. You know, I can hear in your voice. It's like you live and breathe this shit.
Yeah, I love it, man. Like I just like you know, it's like it's like breathing to me,
amazing.
because it's just the way it is every day, you know, and like I'm so fortunate to be in that position where I can do that, you know. So
it's tunnel vision, isn't it? You've got a real. There's nothing getting in the way.
No,
Nothing.
no. Like there's never a chance for it to, because it's like I know that's what it's got to be, you know. Like I can't be myself without just drawing as much as I do. Like I kind of get like withdrawal symptoms if I'm not drawing too long.
Is it habitual?
Yeah.
So yeah, wow, that's amazing. That's so inspiring. So inspiring. Like you're so on it.
Well, I think yeah. I mean, like, I think that. Well, I think people just like can do what they love to do, and I think that kind of like I don't think there's anything like particularly kind of special about like what it is that I do, but it's the love for it that kind of makes it what it is, and you know, I think anyone can kind of do something they love. They just gotta keep doing it.
Double down.
Yeah. You gotta double down.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. I've still got so many questions. But I know we're going to be really late on time. I know you're a busy man.
That's fine. I'm good.
You're good.
Yeah.
Good. He's good. I can keep going for a little bit more. Yeah, man. Like, do you party? Do you drink? Do you do anything?
Not particularly. No.
And you're from Kent, you say?
Yeah.
Yeah. Always lived there?
I went to Bristol to study illustration. Right. That's where I went to university.
Good spot, man. Shout out to my Bristol crew. All
Yeah.
day. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good place. University was a funny experience for me because like I had some like really amazing teachers at school, and like I didn't realize how good they were until like I went to university. They had some great tutors at university, but especially in the first year, I kind of thought like it wasn't as full on as school was, because at school, like I had this one teacher in particular. He kind of like he inspired me to kind of stay up till like 4 a.m. drawing when I was like 15, you know, and bringing in work to show him that I'd done the previous night, and it was so kind of like full on. And when I got to university, it was suddenly like not like that, and I was still like doing that. So
you were still on the pumping gas. And
yeah,
they want you to kind of take more of a theoretical kind of approach rather than do.
Well, they were used to like people going out. Like we'd go to lectures, and there's like 65 of us in our class, and there'd be like, you know, 10 people that would turn up to a lecture because everyone's kind of hungover or been out the night before, and everyone's used to it. Like at university, the tutors are used to it, and like all this, that's what the students do, and it's like I lived in a flat in my first year with 5 other people, and they would always like want me to go out and like kind of go clubbing and stuff, and I just wanted to like just work, you know. I just wanted to draw all night and stuff, and it was so it was like being put in a completely different environment. You know, like I had to kind of. That was what was strange for me, is that the whole, like, a huge part of university felt like it was that whole kind of like social side of it, which I think's fine, like, because I think if that's what you want to do, then that's fine. But it was like I wasn't getting kind of enough attention in a way, especially my first year. It felt
right.
Yeah.
So you really want to focus it, take initiative and do it yourself.
Yeah.
Because you were, you know what? Because I'm dyslexic, right? And I distinctly remember, you know, back when I was growing up in school, people didn't really like know what the diff was. What's the difference between dyslexia and just being thick?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So you'd be, by default, you'd go to the thicker classes.
Oh, right,
No
yeah.
disrespect to any of my school colleagues, of course. You know, we've all grown up to do amazing things, you understand. But, you know, at the time, it's like they didn't know no different. And therefore, the pace, you kind of fall into the rhythm when you don't want to be in that rhythm.
Yeah.
You've just got to do it because that's what, like you say, the teachers are used to working with.
Yeah.
That's a nightmare, isn't it?
It can be, yeah. It
Yeah.
got, don't get me wrong, because it did get like much better in second year, and there were some like tutors that really helped me
Got on it,
push
yeah.
to like the next level and stuff. And but yeah, I mean, just as you say, like you do kind of get not held back, but I was almost like sometimes like I do like group projects, and I never really liked doing group
Yeah, I know.
projects so much, and there was this one time where like I'd done this huge like drawing at home, and I brought it in as part of this group thing, and one of the people in my group was like, "Oh, you know, why have you done that? Because now you've like, did you have to do that much? Because now it looks like we haven't done as much and stuff." And I was like, "Oh, come on, you know,
Yeah.
Why can't we all do?"
That's
like,
amazing. That's
yeah.
amazing. You're outshining motherfuckers. Like, just serves them right.
Well, no, I mean, that's the problem with group projects. I think it's like
Same with being in a band, mate. It's like, you know, there's always going to be like some rivalry or some sort of like someone's overcompensating for something or other. And
yeah.
Or the other one's down the pub or something like that.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, yeah, that was difficult for me because it was never like a realistic example of like what the world's like. Like when you get put into groups at university or school, you don't have the same like hierarchy as like a company or a group of people in a real industry would.
Yeah.
So you'd never have this fear of like losing your job or anything. So people do sit back, and it just becomes like a nightmare.
Sinking some silly money and it being held accountable is nothing like that, is there?
No.
Do you relate, as you was talking about, you know, your practice and the intensity in which you work? There's something that kind of resonated as you said that. Well, I thought of Whiplash, the movie.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that.
Dude, check out Whiplash. Right,
Yeah.
it's a film about a drummer. All he wanted to do was drum. And he went through all these different processes, and it was almost like from beginning to end. It's like the journey trajectory and what he had to do to get there. And I just have this, I could see this in a movie, like Mr Doodle, the movie, of you just starting from scratch and just repeat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a music video in itself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I love that idea of that. That sounds great.
Sick, right? You know,
Yeah.
just doodling, like non-stop. Oh, there you go. We're doing a music video of that. But you know, it's
Yeah.
Girlfriends? Did you have a time for girlfriends? Is it just like
Yeah, that's always been difficult sometimes. The like works kind of, I guess that like you're saying earlier, like is it possible to like just stuff get in the way and stuff? But no, I mean like people say like you got to find like a balance in life and stuff with like work and play and everything, but I think it's just about like finding what works for you.
Yeah.
Like it might be that you're like 90% fun and 10% work, and that might be like the best thing for someone, and they might need that 90% to influence their work, you know, because a lot of people's work kind of is influenced by like their social life or something, and I guess it is just like what works. Like my parents always they like I always had this thing where they would always tell me like I'm working too much and stuff. Like when I was like a kid at school, like when I was staying up and doing this stuff, like my dad caught me once at like 3 a.m. I was downstairs like drawing in my sketchbook and doing stuff for like the next day's like graphics deadline. And he came downstairs because he has like a newspaper delivery business, so he had to get up and go and like run that. But he caught me like I was like hiding under the desk, and he's like, you're like doing like too much. It's like it's not healthy and stuff. And I was thinking, like, usually you'd get like parents that would be like, you got to do your homework and stuff, and it was like the opposite kind of thing. I think sometimes like I do definitely neglect like that other part of my life, and I've kind of let it take over quite a lot, because I don't actually, like, at this point where I'm at now, I don't really need to, if I don't want to, like, I don't need to work like 16 hours a day or whatever. Like, I don't, like, I could get by and like live from what I'm doing, and have to only like work one day a month if I wanted, but it's not what I want. Like, I don't do what I do so I can like
Get
like
paid
lay
and chill.
back and like I do it because like I love doing it. I love the like reaction it gets, and I love the physical process of it.
Yeah, you can tell. I mean, you're here doing you love explaining, you love bringing it to people.
Yeah.
It's extremely endearing. And when people say find a balance, I often think to myself, why? Why the balance? Like, you know what I mean? Like, to me, it's like people kind of need to fall in line a bit more. Like, people that say work hard, play hard. That doesn't mean no one's working hard. Everyone's just making an excuse to play hard.
Yeah.
It's the same sort of thing, isn't it? Like,
like
don't make excuses. Like, there's no balance. It's like you're doing what you love. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, definitely. Like, I mean, like, in a way you could say that I'm not working at all. Like, I'm just playing the whole time. So it's really how you sort of think about it. I mean, if I was doing something that I hated for 16 hours a day, then I could see the argument for someone saying like, you need to like take a break or something. But for me, like, some of the most times where I felt really kind of anxious or kind of not well is when like I've kind of gone like on a family holiday and like I'm so taken away from a sketchbook.
Dude, totally.
And it can be difficult.
Totally can.
Yeah.
When you do your art, and say, for instance, you've got a whole wall piece to do, and you get that pen on the wall, from the moment you start to the moment you finish, you're in a meditational place?
Yeah.
Is that your happy place? That's your meditational place? You're living in the moment?
Yeah, it's really the only time, like, in my life where I feel like I'm in the moment.
Yeah.
Because forever when I'm not drawing, I'm always thinking about, like, the future or the past, and I can't get that feeling of like, and sometimes it's not very nice. Like, I want to be able to like experience right now and enjoy right now, but I'm always thinking, what am I going to be doing like this time, and what am I going to do in the future? Like, when am I going to draw over this house? Like, why hasn't it like happened yet and stuff, But when I'm drawing, that's the real only time where I'm like, this is happening right now, and it's that feeling.
That's amazing. I mean, it's so inspiring. And this, again, highlighting what you were saying earlier of, like, it's not always your peer group of your creative genre that inspires you. It's something way out there, like you say, a brand or another friend who's a chef.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or, like, like my parents are I think people always think that, like, kind of creativity of this kind of, like, it's art and it's like design and stuff, but sometimes it's not always that. It's like business people, like what how my dad talks about his business and the like some of the problems he has or the things that he wants to do. It's like a creative discussion about like creating what comes next, and it's not always kind of that boxed up like how we kind of think of it sometimes. And you can really take inspiration from a lot of things. Like, it's not just about how you draw, but like what makes you want to draw. Like, what are the stories and the things that you look at and you think, oh, I've got to draw. Like, whenever I've been in an art gallery, it's never been like a nice kind of experience for me. Like, I've not really enjoyed it so much. Like, I look around and I kind of get like anxious and like almost jealous that like I'm not like it makes me want to go back and just get out there and do loads of work.
Because you're not revered at that stage in your career. You don't feel like you should be. You feel like you should be there.
No, not so much. But like, if I just see like a massive painting or something, I'm like, oh, I want to,
I want to be that.
I've got to do a big.
So it's a
bigger
competitive
painting.
thing.
I guess so. Yeah,
that's cool, but that's good.
Yeah, but like I can never really feel like I can enjoy it. Like
I see.
I'll be there and people will be like, oh yeah, that's really nice and stuff, and I'm just like kind of itching almost because I'm like, oh, gotta get it out of here.
Yeah, totally. You got the security guards who are watching you. Meanwhile, everyone else is like, swanning around with like little champagne glasses, and you're just like, oh, hang on a minute. I know those ones, man.
Yeah,
I have a lot of trouble going to like hip hop gigs.
Yeah, right.
Because all I'm thinking to myself is, I could do better. That's what I'm thinking in my head. Do you know what I mean? So I know where you're coming from. I think it's healthy. I can't.
Yeah. I guess it's again one of those things where it's like everyone's different, and if whatever your like is working for you, then maybe it's fine,
Yeah, and there's a lot of great talent out there as well that is all over the place to inspire you.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Some of the people I've had on this podcast, some of the most inspiring peoples. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's really good. Did you check out any graffiti, anything like that?
I used to be like into it a lot more when I was younger. I still like it, and I know like writers and like friends and stuff. A lot of people who've actually like really like helped me get to where I am, especially with like taking on big commercial jobs and even like I was so bad at like spray painting when I was younger. Like it was just so annoying that I had these like really like this sketchbook full of drawings that like I thought were really good, and they just wouldn't translate, with spray paint. It's coming out so thick and it's horrible. But I really wanted to learn how to do it, and people that helped me out like writers like Benza and Jive and like people like and Sky High and people like that who I've painted with, and they've always, there's so much like I think you kind of expect, and maybe a lot are, but I haven't met so many, but I've always like I think a lot of people expect kind of graffiti writers to be a bit like not as friendly as you might think, and these guys that I've known, it's always been like so nice and like supportive, and just it's great for me because they're, especially when I was younger, like a lot of especially graffiti and street art was really kind of an area that like I looked up to, and I kind of wanted to be a part of that, and I feel a bit less so now because I want to kind of do my own thing a bit more, and I don't like dislike it at all or anything, but I don't think what I do necessarily kind of fits within that world as much as I thought it might.
Yeah. But this you can take little elements of that as inspiration too, like the attack of how writers do it.
Yeah,
it's like they're forthright. Fuck this, I'm doing it.
Yeah,
that's inspiring.
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah, definitely. Yeah. Like just as you say, like that kind of attitude is as inspiring as the like style of the work and the actual visuals. Like it's more. I'd say it's more so that attitude that you've got to. That's what you can take from that, I guess. Yeah.
Favorite cartoon?
I loved Wacky Races.
Oh
yeah.
Oh yeah. Stop the Hanna-Barbera.
Yeah.
Wacky Races is the one.
Yeah, definitely. Like that stuff really like inspired me.
That's the lick. Did you ever watch the Banana Splits?
No, I don't think I know what that.
Right, get
that
it
is.
when you get. Yeah, no, it's old school. It's way old school. I think it came out. It was Hanna-Barbera still, but it came out in like the 70s. It was like around disco era or some sort of thing, and it was like 4 characters all dressed up in like outfits, legit stuff, not cartoon. These are real characters.
Okay.
But the set in which it was all the backdrop was like a theatre. It was like Hanna-Barbera house, and it was like, I'm going to show you afterwards.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think you really could take something from that if you like the Hanna-Barbera thing, and what they did with their stage setup and the look of it. It had that real kind of like crazy, wonky look to it.
Okay.
I think you'd really get off
cool.
on. Yeah,
that sounds good. Yeah, definitely. I love it. I do like stuff where people kind of merge like cartoons with real world stuff, and
Yeah.
it can be really fun, you know.
Have you ever thought about being like a TV presenter of sorts, you know, like the new Neil Buchanan for Art Attack or something?
I think, yeah, like it's, to me, like I'm at a point now where I'm kind of reaching a stage where I've got to go like kind of one way or another way. And it's like there's this kind of TV presenter kind of like Disney-ish route where you do like colouring books and TV shows and animations and all that kind of stuff. Or there's this like fine art kind of gallery more route where you can sort of sell more expensive paintings, but it's a little bit more perhaps like limited and I don't think you can really do both, you know, like
Only if you do your own podcast or you do your own show. Do you know what I mean? Then
Yeah,
you're really like putting it into a category of like you're not whoring yourself out to a BBC or anything like that.
No, yeah, I mean, but
Which isn't a bad thing, by the way.
No, not at all. But even if you do your own, like say for instance you do your own like kid show or colouring book, like then it's less likely you'll do something like stuff for like a high-end kind of champagne brand or something, you know. So it like when I was younger, like when I first finished university, I wanted to like cover everything with my drawings, and that was like the whole idea, was that my drawings would be on everything and loads of products and things. But you can't, in a way, you can't actually cover everything, because like if you do like your drawings on like toilet roll or something like that, then you maybe can't have it on like a high-end like luxury bag or something, because those two kind of things conflict against each other.
It's fraught, isn't it? But how often do you, because this sounds like you've thought about it a hell of a lot, and do you step outside the bubble, Mr Doodle, and look at it from a practical managerial point of view? Do you look at it like from what would the brand do rather than you? Do you know?
Yeah, like I haven't done that much up to this point. Like in the past kind of couple of months, I've really started thinking more about that. It's a bit more unnatural to me. Like I'm not like afraid of kind of businessy stuff. Yeah. But it's definitely like hit me a bit more recently, and because I kind of was a bit like, oh yeah, I'll take what comes and I'll do the best job I can, but now it's like, well, where do I want to position myself? And it's a bit more kind of strategic, I guess. But I love like spontaneous stuff, so it's very difficult for me.
The artist in you is like, yeah, totally. I think everyone suffers from that who've got like I've got a built-in passion that, you know, your 10,000 hours was you growing up and just constantly doing it. Yeah. Then all of a sudden it's like, oh, this player's suddenly become serious. Yeah. And what would the entrepreneur do? And you know, it's not as easy as just like switch that on and it's happening, isn't it? It's quite hard.
No, definitely. And like I don't want to end up in a place where it's like someone's like, well, maybe it's not so bad, but I don't know. But you know, you get like a lot of artists, musicians, and things, and there's people that are like, oh, you know, they're cool, but I really liked their old stuff. You know, like they were really good then, and they change, and it's good. I think it's good to keep like evolving, but like I always want to make sure like I'm happy with where it is, because otherwise, if it's just good business, then it's a bit like it's hard to wake up and keep doing it. You know.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. That's a good point to make. Some of my favourite bands are ones that didn't change the mould. They just kept. You know what you're getting on the tin. That's what they're doing. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I think even, I mean, I fell victim to it. I think people generally who are creatives, you know, they've got so much in them that sometimes it's almost better to just have another project. Don't put any kind of. Don't taint what like people love about that one thing. Do something else that maybe needs influencing in other areas. Yeah. Just stick to the lanes, isn't it? You know.
Yeah. It's a little bit like that, I think. It's never something like I thought of until now, really. So we'll see where it goes, but it, you know, I think it's gonna have to. I'm gonna have to kind of like think about it a bit more moving forward.
It's all to play for. Yeah. It sounds like it's all go. Yeah. And you're gonna have this house, and it's gonna be like total top to bottom, like. You have to walk around in your socks because the floor's covered in ink. It's all whited out.
Yeah, definitely, man. Like, I'll have to invite you around.
Yeah, man. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. But it should be cool, I think.
You should have like one of them cushion rooms as well. You know, like people that have straight jackets it's all room, all white cushion and material with all your stuff.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
This whole, you know.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, yeah, I'll definitely be over.
Awesome.
Right, well, we'll leave it. Fucking top boy.
Oh,
that
thanks.
was an awesome chat.
Thanks for having
so
me.
much. No, my pleasure,
Great
man.
to be here.
Yeah, man. Ladies and gentlemen, you know it is Killa Kela podcast and my boy, Mr Doodle. Yeah. We out like in was out of fashion. Take care of yourselves.
Thanks very much.
Peace.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, dude, thank you. You smashed it.
Oh, cheers.
Yeah, I mean,
nervous, but...
no.